For 2 years, James Mitchell has been quietly growing his hair, not for style, not for himself, but for love. His fiancée, Sarah Winters, hasn't had hair since she was 16, when alopecia changed her life forever. All she's ever wanted was to feel like a beautiful bride on her wedding day. Tonight, in their small Queen's apartment, James will shave his head completely. Tomorrow, Sarah will walk down the aisle wearing a wedding dress and a wig made from his hair, a gift that took 2 years to give. Sometimes love isn't about grand gestures, but about small sacrifices that mean everything. But can James's selfless act really give Sarah the fairy tale wedding she deserves? Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. Sarah closed her dorm room door and leaned against it, fingers trembling as she removed another wig that didn't feel right. The synthetic hair fell limply onto her desk next to her old high school yearbook, junior year, the last time she'd had her own hair. She opened it now, as she often did when the weight of pretending became too heavy. There she was, 16 and smiling, golden waves cascading past her shoulders. Sarah traced her finger over the glossy image, remembering how it felt to run her fingers through real hair, to feel the wind catch it, to carelessly tie it up on hot days. 3 months after this photo was taken, she'd noticed the first patch. Small, round, innocent-looking. By graduation, she'd lost it all. The support group counselor said college would be different. A fresh start, she'd promised. No one will know unless you tell them. But Sarah knew the truth. Every new wig felt like another mask, another barrier. Between her and real connection, a knock at the door startled her. "Hey, Sarah, it's James from Bio Lab. Got your notes?" She quickly adjusted her backup wig, the safe one, brown and boring, and opened the door. James Mitchell stood there, lanky and slightly disheveled, his own chestnut hair falling in his eyes. He smiled, then glanced at her desk where the discarded wig lay exposed. Sarah froze. James's eyes widened slightly, but his smile didn't falter. "Bad hair day?" he asked, then immediately winced. "Sorry, that was stupid. He ran a hand through his hair, flustered. "My sister has alopecia. Total hair loss by 13. I should be better at this." The yearbook lay open on her desk, her real hair on display in the photo, her current reality scattered across the room. Sarah felt tears welling up, but something in James's awkward honesty made her laugh instead. "Actually," she said, "it's more of a no-hair day." The words came out before she could stop them, her first open acknowledgement to anyone at college. James's shoulders relaxed. "Want to grab coffee? My sister would kill me if I didn't at least try to be a decent human after that spectacular foot-in-mouth moment." Sarah hesitated, touching her wig self-consciously. James noticed and added softly, "The campus coffee shop is always freezing. Nobody takes off their hats anyway." Something in his casual acceptance, the way he created space for her comfort without making it a big deal, made Sarah reach for her beanie. "Coffee sounds good," she said, surprising herself. "But first, bio notes?" He pulled them from his backpack, already wrinkled. As she tidied them, he picked up the yearbook, asking permission with his eyes. She nodded. "You look happy here," he said simply, no pity in his voice. "I bet you still smile like that sometimes." Sarah thought about correcting him, about explaining how she'd lost more than hair that year. Instead, she found herself smiling, not quite yearbook bright, but genuine. "Maybe," she said, "sometimes." They walked to the coffee shop, talking about Bio, his sister, the ridiculous price of decent wigs. For the first time since starting college, Sarah felt the weight of pretending lift, just a little. She didn't know then that James would become her future, that his hair would one day become her something borrowed. She just knew that on a random Tuesday in September, she'd finally found someone who saw past what she'd lost to who she was. The yearbook remained open on her desk, a reminder of before. But for the first time, Sarah thought maybe after didn't have to mean less. James sat in his car outside the bridal shop, watching through the window as Sarah tried on wedding dresses. She'd asked him not to come in. Bad luck, she'd said, but he knew better. Each fitting meant removing her wig in front of strangers, explaining, apologizing, pretending the stares didn't hurt. He pulled out the small notebook he'd started keeping, opening to the first page, where he'd scribbled months ago. Hair Growth Project, Day 1. The idea had come to him during a late-night call with his sister Rachel. "She won't wear a veil," he'd told Rachel. "Says it'll shift the wig, make it obvious." "Of course she's worried," Rachel had replied. "It's her wedding day. Every bride wants to feel beautiful. She is beautiful." "I know that, you know that. But James, do you remember when I got married?" He did. Rachel had worn their mother's handmade lace veil, her own custom-made wig carefully styled underneath, the wig that had cost their parents 3 months' savings. "The wig maker used real human hair," Rachel continued. "It made all the difference. I felt authentic." That word, authentic, stuck with him. Sarah deserved to feel authentic on their wedding day, which led to his late-night research, human hair wigs, donation requirements, specialized wig makers. The cost was staggering, but that wasn't what made him pause. It was the waiting list for donated hair. Looking at his reflection in the rearview mirror now, James ran a hand through his own hair. 6 inches, according to this morning's measurement, carefully recorded in his journal. The wig maker had said he'd need at least 14 inches for what he wanted to create. His phone buzzed. "Sarah, you should see this dress," her text read, "though I wish my hair looked as good as yours does lately." James smiled, adding another note to his journal. Day 147, 6 inches, on track for wedding date. S. Noticed hair. Growth again. Need better excuses. The excuses were getting harder. Trying something new. Too busy for a haircut. Saving money. Each deflection felt like a small betrayal. But the thought of Sarah walking down the aisle wearing his hair, feeling truly herself, it would be worth it. He flipped through the journal's pages. Hair care tips from Rachel, vitamin recommendations, gentle shampoo brands. A pressed flower from the day he'd decided, dried and flat between the pages. Notes on Sarah's favorite hairstyles, copied from old photos she'd shown him. The bridal shop door chimed. Sarah emerged, wiping her eyes. James quickly tucked the journal away and got out of the car. "Hey," he said softly. "That bad?" She shook her head, managing a smile. "That good, actually. I found it." She touched her wig self-consciously. "I just wish—" "I know," he pulled her close, feeling her tears against his shirt. His growing hair brushed his collar, a constant reminder of his secret mission. 8 more inches to go. 8 more inches to give Sarah back a piece of what she'd lost. Later that night, James added another entry to his journal. Day 147 evening. S. found her dress. Cried because she felt beautiful. Cried because she didn't feel complete. Note: ask wig maker if color match is possible for slight golden highlights like her old photos. Check budget for specialized treatment. He closed the journal, tucking it into its hiding spot behind their bed's headboard. Sarah stirred in her sleep, her wig neatly stored on its stand nearby. James watched her for a moment, remembering the girl in the yearbook photo, imagining her joy when she realized his gift wasn't just hair, but a piece of himself, proof that she never had to feel incomplete again. 8 more inches. 8 more. Months of gentle care, special treatments and careful planning. 8 more months of keeping the biggest secret of his life from the person he trusted most. James touched his hair, already longer than he'd ever worn it. "Worth it," he whispered, and turned out the light. The manila folder was getting thicker. James stared at it from his desk at the accounting firm where he worked days, his fingers hovering over the stack of unpaid bills inside. Electric, 2 weeks overdue. Credit card, minimum payment scraped. Together last month. And now the latest, an estimate from Anton's custom wigs that made his stomach clench. "Mitchell!" His supervisor's voice cut through his worry. "Those Peterson accounts aren't going to balance themselves." "Ride on it," James called back, quickly tucking the folder into his drawer. His phone lit up with a text from Sarah. "Mom called, says we're crazy not to take her money for the wedding." They'd had this conversation before. Sarah's parents had offered to help, especially after learning they'd chosen a modest venue, the community center where Sarah's alopecia support group met. But James couldn't take their money, not when they didn't know the real reason he needed to save so much. His second job started in 3 hours, night security at a storage facility. The perfect job for secretly applying deep conditioning treatments to his growing hair, but brutal on his sleep schedule. The dark circles under his eyes were becoming permanent fixtures. "You look like hell," commented Mark, his co-worker, dropping by his desk. "Wedding planning that rough?" James managed a tired smile, "Just trying to make it perfect for her." "Perfect's expensive," Mark said, glancing at the folder visible in James's drawer. "My sister's wedding nearly bankrupted her. You sure you guys can't scale back?" Scale back. James thought about the wigmaker's estimate. Premium human hair construction, custom color matching, special reinforcement for secure styling. Each line item represented another month of double shifts, another bill pushed to its limit. That evening, between jobs, James sat in his car updating his budget in the folder. He'd started categorizing expenses into essential and postpone, but there wasn't much left to postpone. Their apartment's rent was already the lowest they could find within commuting distance. Sarah's medical insurance ate another chunk. The wedding venue deposit was paid, but catering, flowers, and photography loomed ahead. His phone rang. Sarah again. "Hey, love," he answered, trying to keep the exhaustion from his voice. "James, we need to talk about the wedding finances," she said. "Mom's right. We're stretching ourselves too thin." James touched his hair, now long enough to pull back into a small ponytail. 6 more inches to go. We're managing. You're working yourself to death. I saw the overdue notice from the electric company. I'll handle it tomorrow. That's not the point. Sarah's voice cracked slightly. I don't need a big wedding. I don't even need... She stopped. Need what? The expensive wig I've been looking at, she admitted quietly. I know you saw the website open on my laptop, but I can wear one of my old ones. It's just a day, right? James closed his eyes, guilt and determination warring in his chest. If she only knew he was planning to spend 3 times that amount on the wig he was creating for her. It's not just a day, he said firmly. It's our day, and you deserve everything you want. I want you healthy and happy, not stressed about money. James looked at his reflection in the rearview mirror. His hair, now past his shoulders, represented thousands of dollars in specialized products and upcoming wig crafting costs. But it also represented hope. The hope of seeing Sarah's face when she realized what he'd done. The hope of her feeling completely herself on their wedding day. "Trust me," he said softly. "Everything will work out." After hanging up, he added another column to his budget. Worth every penny. Under it, he listed just one item. Sarah's smile. The night shift stretched ahead, but James didn't mind. Each hour meant another payment toward their future, another step closer to his gift. He tucked the folder away and grabbed his time card, ready for another night of juggling duties and dreams. The emergency room's fluorescent lights made everything look harsh and unreal. James stared at the intake form in his hands, his right shoulder throbbing where he'd fallen at the storage facility. The question, any pre-existing conditions, seemed to mock him. How could he explain that his only condition was a desperate need to keep his hair? "Sir," the nurse's voice was kind but firm. "The doctor needs to know if we'll need to shave any area for the procedure." James clutched his now blood-stained security guard uniform. "No shaving," he said quickly. "Please." The nurse frowned. "Mr. Mitchell, if you need stitches, just work around it, please." In the waiting room, Sarah paced, still in. Her pajamas. When they called her back, she gasped at the sight of him. Blood had matted his hair where his head had grazed the storage unit door. What happened? Her fingers hovered over his wound. Lost my balance doing rounds. Hit the door on my way down. He didn't mention he'd been dizzy from exhaustion, that his double shifts had finally caught up with him. The doctor arrived with the verdict. Deep laceration, possible concussion. We'll need to clean the wound area thoroughly. James saw the scissors in the nurse's hand and panicked. Wait! Sarah grabbed his hand. James, let them do their job. You don't understand, he started, then bit back the words. How could? He explained that 2 years of growth, of planning, of sacrifice, might be undone by one moment of carelessness. The doctor studied him. The cut is near your hairline. We can try to work around the hair, but it will make the procedure more difficult. And possibly more painful. Sarah's grip tightened. Why are you being so strange about your hair lately? James looked at her face, saw the worry there, and made a decision. Okay, he said to the doctor, but please, save what you can. The next hour was a blur of cleaning, stitching and careful maneuvering. The nurse managed to clean the wound by parting his hair rather than cutting it, though the process was painstaking. When it was done, James had 4 stitches and a prescription for pain medication he wasn't sure they could afford. The hospital bill arrived a week later, joining the growing folder of financial stress. James stared at the numbers, trying to calculate how many extra shifts he'd need to cover it without falling behind on the wig maker's payments. Sarah found him at the kitchen table, surrounded by papers. I called my parents, she said quietly. James looked up sharply. We agreed to be partners, she cut in. But you're killing yourself, James. The wedding's in 4 months, we're drowning in bills. And now this? She waved the hospital statement. Let them help. I can handle it. Like you handled working until you collapsed. Tears filled her eyes. I don't understand. We could scale back the wedding. I found cheaper venues, simpler options. James touched his hair, now carefully cleaned of blood but still intact, still growing, still hope. I just want it to be perfect for you. Perfect is you being alive and well at the altar. Perfect is not watching you destroy yourself over what? Place settings? Flowers? She sat heavily in the chair beside him. Sometimes I think you're hiding something from me. The truth pressed against his lips, wanting to spill out. Instead, he took her hand. I promise everything I'm doing is for us. For you. Just trust me a little longer. Sarah wiped her eyes. I trust you. I just don't want to lose you to this obsession with a perfect wedding. If only she knew it wasn't the wedding he was obsessed with perfecting, but her joy on that day. James looked at the hospital bill again, at the note from the doctor recommending rest and reduced work hours. Another obstacle in his path, but not an insurmountable one. He had come too far to give up now. Rachel Mitchell stared at her brother's hair care journal, found when she was helping him organize bills during his recovery. Her coffee grew cold as she read entry after entry, tears forming at the magnitude of his secret mission. You idiot, she whispered fondly, touching a page where he'd taped a small sample of his hair to track its growth. You wonderful, stubborn idiot. Her laptop was open before she'd fully formed the plan. The GoFundMe page started simply, my brother is growing his hair for 2 years to surprise his bride with a wedding wig made from his own hair. She has alopecia and doesn't know. He's working 2 jobs to afford it and recently got hurt. Help. Make their wedding day magical. Rachel hesitated before hitting publish. James would be furious if he knew. But watching him struggle, seeing the toll it was taking, something had to give. She added one final line. If you know them, please keep this secret. The surprise is everything. Within hours, the notification started. I'm a hairdresser in Queens. My sister had alopecia. Free deep conditioning treatments until the wedding. DM me. Wedding photographer here. My costs just got covered by this community. Consider it done. Anton's Custom Wigs. We've been working with James. We'll match every donation up to $2,000. Rachel's phone buzzed. A text from her mother. Just saw the fundraiser. Why didn't he tell us? Your father and I are calling the wedding venue tomorrow. The support group where Sarah attended meetings shared the page with their national network. Love like this deserves to be celebrated, they wrote. James was at his follow-up doctor's appointment when Rachel arrived at his apartment, armed with printouts of the fundraiser's progress and a box of tissues. Before you yell, she started as he read the page with growing dismay, look at the comments. Local caterer here. My daughter wore wigs through high school. Your love story moved me. Let me handle the food. Alopecia warrior here. Haven't cried like this in years, keeping your secret and donating my wedding budget fund. This is the kind of love story we need right now, sharing with my whole network. James sank onto his couch, overwhelmed. Rachel, I didn't want to accept help, to let people be part of something beautiful. She sat beside him. You've been carrying this alone for 2 years, James. Let us help carry it the rest of the way. But Sarah won't know unless she specifically searches for a GoFundMe about a man growing his hair for his bride with alopecia. The support group's keeping it off their main page. Everyone understands the need for secrecy. James ran a hand through his hair, now past his shoulders. I wanted to do this myself, for her. You are doing it yourself. Every inch of that hair is your gift, but the wedding around it, let that be our gift to both of you. The notifications kept coming. A local salon offered free styling for the wedding day. A limo service volunteered their best car. Sarah's favorite bakery, where she'd sadly decided to cut costs, messaged about a surprise cancellation that opened up their schedule for a full wedding cake. I don't know what to say, James whispered, reading message after message. Rachel squeezed his hand. Say thank you, and maybe stop working yourself to death? That evening, as James carefully applied his hair treatment, now donated by a high-end salon, he heard Sarah on the phone in the other room. Mum, I don't understand. The venue says our balance is paid, and the caterer called about menu choices. She paused. Are you sure you didn't know? But then who? James smiled, touching his hair. Sometimes the biggest acts of love created ripples that turned into waves, touching hearts they never expected to reach. The GoFundMe page kept growing, each donation a testament to the power of their story. But more than money, it was the messages that moved him. Thank you for showing us that love like this still exists. My daughter has alopecia. Thanks for giving her hope about her own future love story. This is what community means. Rachel had been right. He didn't have to carry this alone anymore. Sarah sat at their kitchen table, her wedding planning notebook open before her. The pages were filled with crossed-out items and question marks, but one page remained untouched. Dream hair styles. She'd created it months ago, then sealed it with tape, trying to lock away impossible wishes. Something wasn't adding up. The venue payment, the mysterious caterer, James's growing hair and secretive behavior. Her fingers traced the sealed page's edge as her mind raced through possibilities, each worse than the last. Was he having second thoughts? The thought seized her heart. She'd seen the way stress carved lines into his face, how he withdrew when she mentioned wedding details. Maybe the reality of marrying someone with her condition had finally hit him. Her phone buzzed. A notification from her support group's private Facebook page. Anyone else's venue suddenly paid off. The comments below caught her eye. Several quick deletions, moderators intervening, suspicious gaps in conversation. Sarah pulled at the sealed page, then stopped. Instead, she flipped to her latest entry. Things that don't make sense. James refusing haircuts, 18 months now. Working 2 jobs but bills, mysteriously paid Rachel's weird behavior at lunch yesterday. Support group acting strange online. James's bathroom cabinet locked new hair care products. Everywhere, the front door opened. James's hair was wet, slicked back in the careful way he'd adopted lately. More hair products, more secrets. We need to talk, Sarah said quietly. James froze. About? She pushed the notebook toward him. Pick a topic. The mysterious payments? The support group's weird behavior? Or maybe why my fiancé's been lying to me for months? Sarah, if you're having doubts, her voice cracked, please just tell me now. Doubts? James looked stricken. God, no, Sarah, never. Then why? Why all the secrets, the extra jobs, the hair obsession, She stopped, really looking at his hair. Long, healthy, carefully maintained, almost like her hands shook as she opened the taped page. There in her handwriting, sketches of wedding hairstyles she'd dreamed of, styles that would only work with real hair, with hair that moved and felt natural, hair like James's current length. Oh, she whispered. James knelt beside her chair. I wanted to wait until it was ready, until everything was perfect. Your hair, Sarah touched it gently. You're growing it for you. James's voice was rough with emotion. I found a specialist who can create a wig from my hair for our wedding, for whenever you want to feel like myself, Sarah finished, tears spilling. You've been growing your hair for me all this time. James nodded. 2 years. It needed to be long enough, healthy enough. The process is expensive, but I wanted you to have a part of me, to know that you're beautiful with or without hair, but if you wanted it. Sarah pressed her fingers to his lips, stopping him. Her other hand still held the notebook, dreams she'd tried to lock away now flooding back. The venue? The other payments? James looked sheepish. That was Rachel. She found out and started a fundraiser. The community. Sarah, you should see how many people want to help make our day special. How many people your strength has touched. Sarah stood suddenly, walking to the bathroom. James followed, worried, until he saw her open his locked cabinet. His haircare journal fell open to the latest entry. All this documentation, she said softly. All these months of care. I wanted it to be perfect for you. Sarah turned to him, really seeing him for the first time in months. The dedication behind his exhaustion, the love behind his secrets. It already is, she whispered, touching his hair. Because it's you, it's us. She pulled him close, their foreheads touching. But no more secrets, no more killing yourself working double shifts. Promise. James smiled. Though there are a few more surprises the community's planned. Good ones. Sarah looked at her wedding notebook, at the dreams she'd tried to suppress. Show me the wig design. James's face lit up. Actually, I have a consultation scheduled for tomorrow. Come with me? Sarah nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. Instead, she opened her notebook to a fresh page and wrote, something borrowed, James's hair, something blue, the way he loves me, something old, our story, something new, the beginning we're creating. The sealed page of impossible dreams floated to the floor, no longer needed. Reality had turned out to be better than anything she could have imagined. Anton's custom wigs occupied a small storefront in Manhattan, its window display featuring elegant mannequins with impossibly perfect hair. Sarah squeezed James's hand as they entered, a small bell announcing their arrival. Anton himself emerged. From the back room, his skilled eyes immediately assessing James's hair. Ah, the famous couple, come, come. He gestured to a private consultation room, walls lined with detailed sketches of custom wigs in various stages of design. Famous? Sarah whispered to James. Your story touched many hearts. Anton smiled, pulling out a leather portfolio. Now, let's make some magic. He opened the portfolio, revealing detailed sketches of a wig designed to match Sarah's old photos. James gasped softly. The drawings captured every aspect he'd hoped for, from the natural hairline to the subtle golden highlights he remembered from her yearbook picture. These are preliminary designs, Anton explained, turning pages. Each sketch represents a different stage of construction. See here. He pointed to detailed notes about ventilation techniques and customized base materials. We'll use a combination of hand-tied strands and specialized weaving to ensure the most natural movement. Sarah traced the sketches with trembling fingers. It will really look like this. Better, Anton promised. Because it will be alive with your love's energy. He turned to James. Speaking of which, time to measure your growth. James sat in the styling chair as Anton carefully assessed his hair. Perfect length now. The treatments you've been using have kept it exceptionally healthy. We can begin the cutting process whenever you're ready. Sarah watched in the mirror as Anton gathered James's hair, demonstrating how it would be sectioned and preserved. Each strand will be catalogued and positioned to maintain the natural flow, he explained. It's a painstaking process, but the result... He pulled out another sketch, this one showing the completed wig styled for their wedding day. Sarah's eyes filled with tears as she recognized the hairstyle, one she'd drawn in her sealed notebook page years ago. Rachel sent me your drawings, Anton admitted. I've incorporated elements from your dreams into the design. The next hour was a blur of technical details. Base measurements, scalp mapping, color matching. Anton's sketches grew more detailed, with each decision, his pencil flying across paper as he captured their vision. The foundation will be silk, he explained, showing them samples. Breathable, secure, but gentle on sensitive skin. We'll add a specialized grip system here, he sketched quickly, so you can dance all night without worry. Sarah hadn't even thought about dancing. The idea of moving freely, hair flowing naturally, made her throat tight with emotion. When? She managed to ask. Anton consulted his notes. The cutting and initial processing will take 2 days, then 3 weeks for basic construction, 2 more for detailed ventilation and customization. Final styling week of the wedding. He looked, I'll need James here for the cutting this weekend. James nodded, his hand unconsciously touching his hair, a gesture Sarah now understood held 2 years of love and planning. I'd like to be here, she said suddenly, for the cutting. If that's okay. James's eyes met hers in the mirror. Really? It's part of our story, she said softly. I want to be there. Anton smiled, adding a note to his sketches. Saturday morning, then. Bring family if you wish. This is a celebration, after all. As they left the shop, Anton's portfolio of sketches stayed behind, but he gave them one drawing, the final design, carefully rendered in color. Sarah held it carefully. This tangible proof that dreams could take solid form. Happy? James asked as they walked home. Sarah looked at the sketch, then at James's hair moving in the spring breeze. I thought I'd feel different, she admitted. Seeing it all planned out, but I just feel what? Like everything's right, like this isn't about having hair for the wedding anymore. It's about having you, having us. James wrapped an arm around her. You've always had me. I know, but now I have proof of just how much. She touched his hair lightly. 2 more weeks of treatments. Anton's orders. The healthier it is for cutting, the better the final result. Sarah smiled. Then let's stop at the salon. I want to learn the treatment process. Be part of these last few weeks. They walked together, the sketch held between them, Anton's artistic vision slowly transforming into reality. But the real masterpiece, Sarah realized, wasn't in the technical details or perfect drawings. It was in the love that had inspired them all. The evening before the big haircut, Sarah pulled out their shared photo album, a leather-bound collection of their life together. James found her cross-legged on their bed, pages spread before her like a map of their journey. I've been thinking about something, she said as he joined her, about why this gift means so much. She turned to their first photo together, that coffee shop meetup after he'd discovered her wig. In the image, Sarah wore her safe brown wig and an uncertain smile. James's hair was short then, messy from running his nervous hands through it. Look at my eyes here, she said softly. How scared I was of being really seen. The next page showed their first real date. Sarah in a black wig, longer this time, trying something new. James grinning at her across a pizza they couldn't afford. His student loans notice visible in his backpack. You never made me feel different, she continued, touching the photos. Even when I was trying so hard to be normal. More pages turned. Sarah with different wigs, different attempts at feeling whole. James constant beside her, his love unchanging regardless of her appearance. Holidays, birthdays, ordinary moments made extraordinary by their shared understanding. Here, she paused at a photo from 2 years ago. This was right before you started growing your hair, wasn't it? The image showed them at Rachel's baby shower. Sarah had gone without a wig that day, just a colourful scarf. James's hair was shortest here, fresh from his last regular cut. I remember watching you with Rachel, James said quietly. How you helped her style her wig for the party, both of you laughing. That's when I first had the idea. Sarah leaned against him, turning. More pages. The changes were subtle at first. James's hair gradually longer in each photo, Sarah's smile growing more genuine as she sometimes chose to go without wigs entirely. I used to think I needed hair to feel beautiful, she said, reaching their most recent photos. But somewhere along the way, with you, I learned that beauty isn't about what's missing. It's about what's there. She touched a picture from last month, both of them at the park, James's long hair catching the sunlight, Sarah bareheaded and laughing at something off camera. They looked happy, complete. And now you're giving me your hair, she whispered. Not because I need it to be whole, but because you want to share every part of yourself with me. James wrapped his arms around her, their reflection visible in the bedroom window. His long hair and her smooth scalp, both perfect in their own way. That's what I finally understood, Sarah continued, closing the album. Tomorrow, when you cut your hair, it's not about fixing something broken. It's about weaving our stories together, literally and figuratively. I've never thought you needed fixing, James said softly. I know. That's why I fell in love with you. She touched his hair, now in its final hours of growth. That's why this gift is so beautiful. Not because it will make me look different, but because it's a piece of you I get to carry. They sat together, the photo album between them, years of memories bound in its pages. Tomorrow would add new photos, the cutting ceremony, the careful preservation of James's gift, the beginning of their next chapter. Keep taking pictures, Sarah said suddenly, through all of it, even the small moments. James smiled, understanding. This wasn't just about documenting a wedding preparation. It was about capturing their love story in all its unique, unconventional beauty. The photo album's last pages were still empty, waiting for the wedding photos, the future they would build. But the story it already told was clear. A journey of two people who found wholeness not in perfection, but in perfect acceptance of each other. The wedding invitation sat propped on their kitchen counter, its simple elegance capturing everything about their journey. No fancy embossing or elaborate designs, just clean text on cream paper with a small hand-drawn illustration of intertwined locks of hair forming a heart. Anton's daughter drew it, Sarah explained to her mother, who was helping with the final guest count. She's an artist who specializes in drawings for people with alopecia. Look how she made the hair strands flow together. Helen touched the illustration gently. It's perfect, sweetheart, just like everything else is going to be. The final week before the wedding had taken on a dreamlike quality. James's hair was now in Anton's careful possession, being transformed into Sarah's wedding day surprise. The community's support had turned their modest plans into something magical, though still intimately them. The RSVPs are overwhelming, Helen said, sorting through responses. I've never seen so many personal notes included. Sarah picked up one from her support group leader. Your love story gives hope to everyone in our community. Thank you for letting us be part of it. Another from James's office. Finally understand why he's been growing his hair. Count us in for the celebration of the year. The invitation's words caught the light. Join us in celebrating love. That grows, changes and becomes more beautiful with time. James entered, ducking instinctively before remembering his hair was gone. The shortcut somehow made him look both younger and more mature. Final meeting with the venue coordinator, he reported. Everything's set for the hairstyling room they're creating for Anton. Sarah touched his shortened hair, still getting used to the change. Any regrets? Only that I can't give you more, he smiled. Speaking of giving, Helen interjected, the gift table might be a problem. We've received twice the expected RSVPs. Sarah laughed. Mom, we told everyone their presence was enough. Yes, well, try telling that to the 3 different wig makers who want to gift you lifetime styling services, or the salon chain offering free treatments forever. Or, we get it, James chuckled. The community's excited. Sarah looked at their invitation again, at the intertwined strands forming a heart. They understand what this means. It's not just about hair or wigs or even our wedding. It's about love that grows. James finished, quoting their invitation. The doorbell rang, Anton's assistant with another set of styling sketches for approval. The schedule for the wedding day was complex, allowing time for final wig adjustments and multiple style checks. The whole process will take 3 hours, she explained. But when we're done, she showed them the final sketch, more detailed than ever. Sarah's eyes welled up. It's exactly how I dreamed. As the assistant left, more deliveries arrived. Flowers for the trial centerpieces, sample place cards, the wedding coordinator's final timeline. Their small apartment was transforming into wedding central command. 1 week, Sarah whispered that night as they lay in bed surrounded by planning papers. The invitation glowed softly in the lamplight, its simple message encompassing everything. Love that grows, changes and becomes more beautiful with time. James touched his short hair again. 1 week until you wear my heart literally and figuratively. I already do, Sarah smiled. The wig is just bonus. They fell asleep surrounded by RSVPs filled with love, their invitations standing guard over their dreams. In its subtle design, the intertwined hair strands seemed to move, suggesting not just their past journey, but all the beauty yet to come. James sat at his sister's dining room table, following the tradition of spending the night before the wedding, apart from Sarah. A blank piece of paper lay before him, his final gift to her before tomorrow's revelation. The house was quiet. His nervous energy the only sound in the late-night stillness. Finally, he began to write, "My dearest Sarah, by the time you read this, Anton will be working his magic, transforming 2 years of growth into your wedding day crown. But I need you to understand something. This gift isn't about making you more beautiful. You've always been beautiful. It's about sharing myself with you in the most literal way I know how. Remember that day in college when you first let me see you without your wig? You were so scared, but all I saw was your strength, your beauty, your heart. That day, I learned that love isn't about what's on the surface. It's about what lies beneath. For 2 years, I grew my hair thinking it was a gift for you. But the truth is, you've given me so much more. You taught me that real love doesn't try to fix or change. It accepts, supports, and grows. Like my hair, our love has grown stronger every day, weathering storms, celebrating joys, becoming more beautiful with time. Tomorrow, when you walk down the aisle, you'll be wearing a piece of me, but you've carried my heart since that first coffee shop meeting when you trusted me enough to share your truth. Every strand of hair in your wedding wig represents a moment we've shared, a challenge we've overcome, a dream we've built together. The community's support has overwhelmed me. They see what I've seen all along, that our love story isn't about what's missing, but about what we've found in each other. Every donation, every kind word, every offer of help has shown me that our love touches others, gives them hope, makes them believe in the power of unconditional acceptance. Anton promises you'll be able to style the wig however you want, that it will move and feel natural. But I promise you something more, that my love for you will always be as real and natural as every strand of hair you'll wear tomorrow. That I will spend our lifetime growing in love with you, supporting you, celebrating you exactly as you are. When you wear this wig, I hope you feel not just beautiful, though you will be stunning, but cherished, accepted, loved beyond measure. Feel the care that went into every inch of growth, every treatment, every minute of planning. Feel the love of our community who rallied to make our day perfect. Most of all, feel my love woven into every strand. You've never needed hair to be complete. You've never needed anything to be worthy of love. But tomorrow, you'll wear my heart in your hair, a symbol of how our lives have intertwined, how we've grown together, how we'll continue to grow in love. I can't wait to see you walk down the aisle. I can't wait to dance with you, to watch your hair, my hair, our hair move with every step. I can't wait to begin our forever, but mostly I can't wait to see your smile, because that's always been your most beautiful feature and the thing that made me fall in love with you. See you tomorrow, my love. Thank you for making every day of these past 2 years worth the growth, worth the wait, worth everything. All my love and hair, James. He folded the letter carefully, sliding it into an envelope for Anton to give her during the styling session. Tomorrow. His hand touched his short hair reflexively, a habit he'd need to break. But tomorrow, when he saw Sarah wearing his gift, he knew every moment of the journey would feel worth it. Rachel found him still at the table, letter sealed, eyes distant with dreams of tomorrow. Ready for bed, little brother? Ready for forever. He smiled. The letter would wait until morning, but its words already hung in the air, a promise of the love story still unfolding. The bridal suite mirror stretched from floor to ceiling, its ornate frame catching the morning light. Sarah sat before it, eyes closed as Anton worked, her mother and sister holding hands nearby. James's letter lay open in her lap, teardrops dotting the paper. Almost ready, Anton murmured, making final adjustments. His skilled hands moved with practiced precision, each touch ensuring the wig sat perfectly. Remember, this isn't just hair, it's love made tangible. Are you ready to see? Sarah clutched James's letter tighter. I'm scared, she whispered. Her mother stepped forward. Why, sweetheart? What if it changes how I see myself? I've worked so hard to feel beautiful without hair. Helen touched her daughter's shoulder. This isn't about needing hair to feel beautiful. This is about wearing James's love, quite literally. Anton stepped back, his work complete. Open your eyes when you're ready. Take your time. Sarah took a deep breath, James's words from the letter echoing in her mind. You've never needed anything to be worthy of love. Slowly, she opened her eyes. The mirror reflected a stranger who was somehow completely herself. Chestnut waves framed her face, catching light just as James's hair had. The color was perfect. Anton had matched every subtle highlight. But it was more than that. The hair moved naturally, fell softly, seemed to belong. Oh, she breathed. Her sister Amy stepped closer. It's Sarah, you like me, Sarah finished, touching the hair tentatively. It feels like me. Anton smiled. That's because it is you. And James. Together. He demonstrated how the wig was secured. Dance, move, laugh. It won't shift. I've made sure of it. Sarah stood, watching the hair move with her. Memories flooded back, teenage days of tossing her hair, feeling the wind catch it. But this was different. Better. Because every strand told a story of love. The styling options are endless, Anton continued, showing her simple techniques. But for today, his hands moved swiftly, creating the romantic style they'd planned. Amy dabbed her eyes. James is going to lose it when he sees you. Sarah couldn't stop looking in the mirror, seeing herself from every angle. The wig was perfect, but it wasn't about the hair anymore. It was about seeing James's love manifested, about wearing his gift with pride. Her mother picked up the letter, reading aloud. Every strand represents a moment we've shared. He's right, you know. This isn't just a wig, it's your love story. The makeup artist arrived, pausing in the doorway. Oh my goodness, she breathed. You look absolutely radiant. Sarah smiled at her reflection. I feel radiant. I feel complete. She touched the hair again. Not because of the wig, but because of what it represents. The next hour passed in a blur of preparations. The dress, the jewelry, the final touches, but Sarah kept returning to the mirror, watching James's gift move with her, seeing their love story reflected back. Anton made final adjustments, explaining, "Care instructions to Amy. Though something tells me James will want to help with that," he winked. "He probably has a whole journal of hair care tips." Sarah laughed, then paused as tears threatened. "He really grew this for me. All those months." Helen wrapped her arms around her daughter. "He grew it for love. And look what bloomed from that love. Not just this beautiful wig, but an entire community coming together, supporting you both." Sarah touched the mirror, her reflection touching back. In the glass, she saw everything. The scared college girl, learning to love herself. The woman who'd found strength in acceptance. The bride wearing her fiancé's heart in her hair. "Ready?" Amy asked softly. Sarah nodded, picking up James's letter one last time. The mirror showed her complete, not because of the hair, but because of the love it represented. Every strand told their story, and she couldn't wait to begin their next chapter. "Ready," she smiled. "Let's go get married." The wedding programs rustled softly as guests opened them, discovering the simple note printed inside. "Today's bride wears a special gift. A wig crafted from the groom's hair, grown with love for 2 years. We invite you to celebrate not just their marriage, but a love that grows in extraordinary ways." James stood at the altar, heart racing, as the whispers of understanding rippled through the crowd. His sister Rachel, watching from her spot as bridesmaid, saw the exact moment the music changed, and James first glimpsed Sarah. She appeared in the doorway, radiant in her dress, James's gift flowing perfectly around her shoulders. The assembled guests collectively held their breath, but James saw only Sarah. His hands trembled as she drew closer, her father beaming beside her. The officiant, a member of Sarah's support group, smiled warmly. "Friends and family," she began, "we gather today to celebrate a love that redefines giving, that shows us how beautiful growth can be." Sarah couldn't take her eyes off James, who was openly crying now. She reached up to brush away her own tears, marveling at how naturally the hair moved with her. In the front row, Anton watched proudly as his creation helped tell their story. "James and Sarah have chosen to write their own vows," the officiant continued. Sarah's hands shook as she unfolded her paper. "James, you've shown me that love isn't about completing someone. It's about growing together. For 2 years, you grew your hair for me, but you grew so much more than that. You grew our trust, our strength, our story. Today, I wear your gift as a crown of love, but I've worn your heart since the day you first saw me, really saw me, and loved all of me." She touched the wig gently. "This gift isn't about making me whole. I was already whole. It's about showing me, showing everyone, that love finds extraordinary ways to express itself. I promise to love you just as completely, just as creatively, just as unconditionally. I promise to grow with you, to face every challenge with you, to celebrate every joy. And I promise to treasure not just this beautiful gift, but the beautiful heart that gave it." James took a shaky breath, his own vows nearly forgotten in the emotion of the moment. "Sarah, watching you wear my gift today is overwhelming, but not because of how you look, though you're breathtaking. It's overwhelming because I see our whole story in it. Every strand represents a moment we've shared, every wave a challenge we've overcome, but you've given me so much more than I could ever give you." He reached out to touch the hair that had once been his, now transformed by love. "You've taught me that real love grows in unexpected ways, that the most beautiful gifts come from the heart. I promise to keep growing with you in love, in understanding, in wonder at how lucky I am to be yours. I promise to support you, celebrate you, and love you exactly as you are. And I promise that this gift is just the beginning of a lifetime of finding new ways to show you how deeply you're loved." The officiant dabbed at her eyes before continuing. The rings you exchanged today are traditional symbols of your love, but you've already created your own symbol, one as unique as your story. Let these rings remind you of the love that grows between you, that transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary memories. As they exchanged rings, the late morning sun caught Sarah's hair, James's gift, creating a halo effect. The wedding programs fluttered again as guests wiped away tears, the printed story of James's gift now playing out before them. By the power vested in me, the officiant smiled, I now pronounce you husband and wife. James, you may kiss your bride. As they kissed, Sarah felt their hair brush James's cheek. He pulled back just enough to whisper, beautiful, perfect, ours. The programs would be kept as mementos, their story shared and retold. But in that moment, as they turned to face their cheering friends and family, Sarah and James wrote a new page in their ongoing story, one of love that would keep growing, keep giving, keep transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. The wedding guest book lay open on an antique desk, its pages quickly filling with messages that went far beyond traditional congratulations. Anton had designed it specially, with pressed flowers and intertwined strands of hair preserved between transparent pages, creating a living memoir of their day. Your love story gives me hope, wrote a teenage girl from Sarah's support group, her own smooth scalp proud and uncovered at the reception. Thank you for showing us that love sees beyond the surface. James's sister Rachel added, little brother, you've always had the biggest heart. Sarah, thank you for seeing it, celebrating it, and now wearing it so beautifully. The dance floor beckoned, but Sarah and James lingered at the guest book, reading message after message. The most beautiful bride, not because of the wig, but because of the love it represents. 2 years of growth, a lifetime of love to come. Thank you for letting us be part of this miracle. Their first dance drew everyone's attention. Sarah's hair, James's gift, moved perfectly as he spun her, catching the light, drawing gasps of wonder from guests who couldn't believe how natural it looked. Ready to dip, James whispered. Sarah smiled, remembering all their practice sessions. Show them what your gift can do. He dipped her low, the wig flowing like water, staying perfectly in place thanks to Anton's craftsmanship. When they rose, their guests erupted in applause. Anton watched from his table, pride evident in his expression. Next to him, his daughter continued sketching in the guest book, capturing the moment in flowing lines. The father-daughter dance brought tears to every eye. Sarah's dad couldn't stop touching her hair, marveling at his son-in-law's dedication. I've never seen you so radiant, he whispered as they danced. It's not the hair, Dad, Sarah replied. It's the love behind it. The guest book filled steadily throughout the evening. James's colleagues wrote about finally understanding his growing hair and double shifts. Sarah's medical team contributed a joint message about witnessing her journey from uncertainty to confidence. During the toasts, Rachel gestured to the book. When I found James's hair care journal, I thought he was crazy. But looking at Sarah today, at the joy in this room, at the messages in this book, I understand. Sometimes the craziest acts of love create the most beautiful moments. Sarah's mother spoke next, her voice thick with emotion. Look around this room. See the community that came together, inspired by James's gift and Sarah's grace. Their love. Story reminds us that beauty comes in many forms, but always shines brightest when shared. As the evening continued, more guests added their thoughts. To the couple who redefined something borrowed, your story will be told for generations. Thank you for showing us what real love looks like. The dancing never seemed to stop. Sarah moved freely, confidently, her hair responding naturally to every movement. James couldn't stop watching her, his heart full at seeing his gift bringing her such joy. Having fun? He asked during a quiet moment. Sarah touched her hair, their hair, and smiled. It's perfect. Everything's perfect. They returned to the guest book periodically, reading new messages together. Anton had left a technical drawing of the wig's construction, annotated with notes about love's ability to transform. His daughter added a series of sketches showing Sarah dancing, hair flowing, joy radiating from every line. As the night drew to a close, James and Sarah added their own message to the final page. Thank you for celebrating not just our wedding, but our journey. Every message in this book, like every strand of hair in this wig, weaves together to tell a story of love, community, and the beautiful things that grow when we dare to give our whole hearts. The guest book would preserve this day forever, but their story, like Sarah's crown of love, would keep growing one beautiful moment at a time. The wedding photographer caught them in a quiet corner of the venue, scrolling through the preview images on her camera's display. Each photo told a piece of their story. Sarah's first look in the mirror, James's tears as she walked down the aisle, their perfect first dance. "Look at this one," Sarah whispered, pausing on an image of their kiss at the altar. The photographer had captured the exact moment James's hand touched her hair, their hair, his expression a mix of wonder and pure love. "It's strange," James said softly, "seeing my gift from the outside, seeing how perfectly it became yours." The photographer scrolled to another shot, Sarah laughing during their dance, the hair catching light and movement in a way that looked completely natural. No one would ever guess the extraordinary story behind it. "Anton wants copies for his portfolio," the photographer mentioned. "He says this wedding will change how people think about custom wigs, about love too." She left them with the camera's display, moving away to capture more reception moments. Sarah leaned into James, still amazed at how the wig moved with her every gesture. "Remember my old yearbook photo?" she asked. "How I used to stare at it, missing my hair." James nodded, touching a strand of the wig gently. "I don't miss it anymore," Sarah continued, "because this is better. This is our story, not just my loss." The photographer had captured that story in every frame, the way James couldn't stop looking at her, the joy radiating from both of them, the beautiful ways her hair moved as they celebrated. "My favorite is this one," James said, finding a quiet shot of Sarah alone, reading his letter that morning. The hair framed her face perfectly, but it was her expression that made the photo special. Pure love and wonder captured in a single moment. The reception continued around them, but in their corner, time seemed to pause. Each photo showed them, not just their wedding day, but their whole journey. The struggles, the secrets, the support, the love that had grown with every inch of hair. "We should thank the photographer," Sarah mused. "She's not just taking pictures, she's preserving our miracle." James smiled. "The real miracle isn't in the photos, it's right here." He touched her hair again. "It's in every strand, every moment, every smile." The final shot on the display showed them from behind, watching their guests dance. Sarah's hair caught the evening light, transformed into a crown of love that told their story to anyone who saw it. In that quiet corner, surrounded by the images of their joy, they held each other and marveled at how love could grow into something so beautiful, so visible, so perfectly them. 1 month after the wedding, Sarah stood before their new apartment door, key in hand. The morning light caught the fresh-cut metal, still shiny and unmarked. Behind her, James juggled moving boxes, his hair already growing back into a short, neat cut. "Home sweet home," he said, nodding at the key. "Want to do the honors?" Sarah inserted the key, feeling the tumblers align. Their first home together, made possible by the wedding gifts, and James finally being able to drop his second job. The door swung open to reveal walls already decorated with blown-up photos from their wedding, Sarah's hair, James's gift, capturing light in each frame. "I still can't believe this is ours," she said, touching the key. "All of it." Their modest one-bedroom had felt like a palace after seeing the furnished photos. The previous tenant, a member of Sarah's support group, had left them a housewarming gift, a beautiful vanity with special stands for Sarah's various wigs, including the wedding one. Anton called yesterday, James mentioned, setting down the boxes. He wants to know if we'll share our story at his salon's open house next month. Apparently, they're launching a new program for custom wigs using donated hair from loved ones. Sarah smiled, remembering how Anton had taught her to care for the wedding wig, treating it with the same reverence he'd shown while creating it. The wig now held a place of honor on its special stand, saved for meaningful occasions. "Look what I found while packing," James said, pulling out his old hair care journal. "Remember this? How could I forget? Your sister told me you used to write in it every night, tracking every inch of growth." James leafed through the pages, touching the pressed flower, the careful measurements, the hopes written in late-night scribbles. "I was thinking, maybe we should keep it going." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Planning to grow it out again?" "Actually," he grinned, "I thought we could document this new growth instead." He gestured around their apartment. "Our first home, our first year, all the little ways we keep growing together." The key in Sarah's hand caught the light again. She set it on their new kitchen counter, where it would soon be joined by mail, grocery lists, and all the ordinary treasures of married life. "Speaking of growth," she said, running her fingers through James's short hair, "I like this length on you." "Yeah? Yeah, it's you. Just like this," she touched her smooth scalp, "is me. And this," she glanced at her wedding wig, "is us." They spent the day unpacking, turning the empty apartment into their home. The key moved from counter to hook, marking its permanent place in their new life. James's hair care journal found a spot on their bookshelf, ready to document new chapters. That evening, they sat on their new couch, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes and infinite possibility. Sarah held the key, feeling its weight, its promise. "Happy?" James asked. Sarah looked around their home, at the wedding photos showing her, crowned in his love, at the vanity celebrating all versions of herself, at the man who had given her so much more than hair. "Growing happier every day," she answered, and kissed him as the setting sun turned their new key to gold. Love grows, local man's 2-year journey to create the perfect wedding gift. The headline stretched across the local paper's lifestyle section, accompanied by one of their wedding photos. Sarah sat at their breakfast table, still amazed by how their story had caught fire after a guest's social media post went viral. "Another interview request," James said, checking his email. "This one's from a national morning show." Sarah touched the newspaper article, reading the opening lines again. When James Mitchell began growing his hair 2 years ago, he had one goal: to give his bride the wedding day of her dreams. What he didn't expect was how his act of love would inspire a movement. The article detailed everything: James's secret mission, the community's support, Anton's craftsmanship. But it was the sidebar that brought tears to Sarah's eyes. Impact spreads, local salon launches, Love Grows program. Anton's initiative had taken off. Inspired by James and Sarah's story, people were growing their hair to donate to loved ones. With hair loss, his salon had become a hub for these personal transformations, each one carrying its own story of love. "Listen to this email," James said, reading from his phone. "My daughter has alopecia. She's getting married next year. After reading about you and Sarah, I've started growing my hair for her. Thank you for showing us that love finds a way." The responses had been overwhelming. Their wedding photos circulated online, shared by alopecia support groups worldwide. Each share brought more stories, more hope, more understanding. Sarah opened her laptop, showing James the latest comments on the article. "My husband started growing his hair after reading this. Our daughter lost hers to chemotherapy. He says, every inch is a prayer for her recovery. As someone with alopecia, this story touched my heart. It's not about the hair. It's about being seen, being loved, being celebrated exactly as we are. I'm a wig maker. This story has changed how I approach my craft. Each wig is now a love story waiting to happen." The article had sparked something larger than themselves. Anton's salon now hosted monthly meetings where families could learn about the process, share stories, support each other. The Love Grows program had waiting lists in 3 states. "They want us to speak at next month's meeting," Sarah said, showing James the invitation. "Share our story firsthand." James touched his hair, now long enough to curl around his ears. "Think we should tell them about the sequel?" Sarah smiled, remembering their anniversary plans. They'd decided that every few years, James would grow his hair again, creating new pieces for different occasions. Their love story, like his hair, would keep growing, keep giving. The reporter called it a movement, Sarah mused, rereading the article. But it's simpler than that, isn't it? It's just love finding new ways to express itself. Their doorbell rang, another delivery of letters from people touched by their story. Each one shared a personal connection, a spark of hope, a new understanding of what love could look like. The newspaper lay open between them, their story in black and white. But the real story was in the lives it touched, the conversations it started, the love it inspired. "Did you ever imagine," Sarah asked, gesturing to the pile of responses, "when you first started growing your hair?" James smiled, remembering those early days of secret hair treatments and careful measurements. "I just wanted to make you happy." All of this, he waved at the article, the letters, the growing movement their love had inspired. "This is beyond anything I could have dreamed." The morning light caught Sarah's wedding wig on its stand, each strand a testament to their journey. But now their private act of love had become a public inspiration, showing others that sometimes the most beautiful gifts grow from the heart. 2 wigs stood side by side on Sarah's vanity, the wedding piece that had started it all, and beside it, something new. James's anniversary gift. Another wig crafted from his regrown hair, this one styled in a playful bob that Sarah had always wanted to try. 1 year, Sarah said, touching both wigs gently. "Can you believe it?" James stood behind her, his hair freshly cut again after months of growth. In the vanity mirror, their reflection told their story, his short style, her smooth scalp, and between them, the physical manifestations of their ever-growing love. "Anton outdid himself with the new one," James said, touching the bob's gentle waves. "He said working with my hair is becoming a specialty." Sarah laughed. "Well, you're his most dedicated donor." She lifted the anniversary wig, admiring how it caught the light. "Though I hear you have competition now. His waiting list is 6 months long." It had become their tradition, James growing his hair, transforming it into new pieces for Sarah, not because she needed them, but because each wig told another chapter of their story. "Remember what you wrote in your wedding vows?" Sarah asked, setting the new wig back down. "About every strand representing a moment we've shared?" James nodded, wrapping his arms around her waist. "These aren't just wigs anymore," she continued. "They're our timeline, the wedding piece. That's our beginning, our foundation. And this, she touched the new bob. This is our first year together. All the moments, big and small." The morning sun streamed through their apartment windows, catching both wigs. The wedding piece held its elegant style, while the new bob promised casual freedom, 2 different expressions of the same growing love. "I have something for you too," Sarah said, reaching into her drawer. She pulled out a small book, a photo album. "Open it." Inside, James found pictures he hadn't known existed. Sarah's mother had secretly documented his 2-year journey. James falling asleep with hair care products, meticulously measuring his growth, working his second job. The final pages showed his latest growth cycle, ending with yesterday's cut for the anniversary wig. "Your mom took these? She said she knew from the start your gift would be worth remembering, worth celebrating." James touched the photos, memories flooding back. "I'd do it all again." "I know," Sarah smiled. "That's why I love you." They had plans for the evening, dinner at the coffee shop where they'd first met, now transformed by the owner who'd been touched by their story. But this moment felt like the real celebration, standing together, surrounded by physical reminders of their unique love. Sarah picked up her new wig. "Help me style it." James's hands were gentle as he helped her put it on. both of them remembering that first emotional wedding morning. The bob settled perfectly, framing her face in waves that matched his natural texture. "Beautiful," he whispered. "The wig or me?" she teased. "All of it. You. Us. This life we're growing together." Sarah turned to face him, her new style moving. "Naturally. Thank you for never stopping, for finding new ways to show your love, for growing with me." "Always," James promised, touching the hair that had once been his, now transformed by love into something even more beautiful. "Happy anniversary, my love." The two wigs remained on their stands, witnesses to their continuing story. The wedding piece held their beginning, the new bob marked their first year, and between them lay infinite possibility. More growth, more gifts, more love taking physical form. Outside their window, spring sunlight promised new growth, new stories, new ways to show love. But inside, Sarah and James held each other, surrounded by the tangible proof that love, like hair, could grow again and again, each time telling a new chapter of their endless story.